Charlie Kirk wounds up in another debate against vegan, and I've never seen him debate worse against anybody ever on any position whatsoever. This is like the worst debate I've ever seen him perform in.
Vegan strongman. There's plenty of high performing athletes that can make it totally viable to live on a plant-based diet. So I think using those as examples, it kind of paints a picture that maybe it's not really required to harm animals if we can get our nutrients from plants.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. So a couple things. I don't love the way that debate went, so we're actually going to repost recent commentary, but yeah, Julie does. Okay.
He doesn't like the way the debate went because he got absolutely owned. He's going to repost it with commentary on like Google Slides or something like that, where he's going to pull up like studies like, oh, soy could estrogenize you, therefore it's bad. He doesn't have any concept of veganism. He's going to repost it with commentary eventually because he got blown the fuck out. It's crazy.
For a couple reasons. So if you're vegan, I just want you, I don't know how much you know about this or not, but like if you're vegan, where do you get your CoQ10, your omega oils, your B12 from?
Yeah, so you can like B12 comes from, like they supplement the feed that animals get with B12, so we're just eliminating the middle cow and getting it direct from the source. Omega-3s, those also come
the toughest.
Yeah, I think that those come from algae, so you could just take algae supplements that have B12. And I would like to further add that, the American Dietetics Association, which is the largest body of health dietitians in America, I mean, they have a paper that basically says it's completely fine and practicable to inadequate to live a vegan lifestyle in all stages of life. And they actually promote some benefits in the reduction of certain health diseases. If that's
Oh my god, Charlie leveled up in his vegan debating skills. He's no longer like, protein, you can't get protein on a vegan diet. He's now saying CoQ10 can't get vegan on a vegan diet, B12 can't, and omega-3s can't. Okay, but on a serious note, I wanted to add on to what he had to say. So first off, he said that omega-3s are going to be lacking on a vegan diet and might need to be supplemented. That's not necessarily going to be the case because you can get your ALA from like flax seeds, which the ALA will just naturally transfer into AEHA and DPA, I believe are the other two. And then also I want to talk about CoQ10. That's not going to be necessary for you. Your body self-sufficiently provides it for you and produces it, so you don't necessarily need to supplement that either. But B12, of course, you would need to supplement. Otherwise, he handled it really well. Proud of him.
What you want to do, then you have the power to do that. I have other very serious objections. I think there's a part of veganism that thinks as if you are saving animal lives, when in reality a lot of the agricultural practices displace birds and kill a lot of other animals as well. So it actually just hides the suffering. It doesn't actually eliminate the suffering. Yeah. Again, if that's what you want to do, fair enough. There's a very good documentary on Netflix all about vegan weightlifters, and the most legitimate component of that is when they actually measure the blood samples between someone that eats meat and does not. Yeah. But we also must be very clear. Veganism is very expensive. It's something that a lot of people would not necessarily be. The only way you can do veganism is if you have money, you have tons of attention, and you understand the vitamin deficiencies that do exist. Sure. Which again, CoQ10, omega-3s, and vitamin B12, that's legit. If you don't actually supplement on that, you could have major deficiencies. And everybody's wired differently. Yeah. But I would say most people, just to guess, and there are studies to support this, they would struggle on a plant-based diet for many different reasons. Number one, plants literally do attack your system, actually in a good way. Literally, as you digest fruits and veggies, they minorly attack your system. It all depends on your gut, and for some people, they need some form of animal protein that actually helps them with digestion. It's slower to digest, they get more protein out of it. So know your blood type, know how you approach things, and if you want to be a vegan, more power to it. What I don't like, though, is when vegans shame us meat eaters as if we're
I think
terrible people. That makes sense.
Yeah, for sure, but I think there should be some sort of moral obligation to a degree, right?
No, you forgot to address all the misinformation you just said. But I think it's kind of a good thing to move on from the topic because you get like 7 minutes. But the thing he said mainly in consideration is that veganism is going to be more expensive and you need a lot of attention in order to go vegan and stuff like that. That's not going to be the case at all. Ground beef is going to be much more expensive than just making your own seitan or buying tofu or buying beans. All that's going to be way less expensive on just an individualistic level and a societal level in order to become vegan. And also you're saving millions of animals because the crop deaths, also you have to grow crops in order to feed the cows. And the cows need about 15,000 calories per day. So I just think most of these points are just going to be ridiculous.
Like, I mean, you probably wouldn't have the same feelings if those were like dogs in slaughterhouses, right? We would probably have a moral objection to that. If it's like a minor inconvenience that you just got to take a B12 supplement every morning, like, or maybe twice a week, I don't think it justifies the pain and suffering that we are inflicting on these animals. And so I just want to, are you actually making the claim that you can't thrive on a plant-based diet easily?
It depends on.
I've been doing it 8 years and I don't pay that much attention.
It depends on who you are and again, I have serious problem. I could not be on plant-based. I know that. I'm better when I'm able to eat maybe salmon or chicken or steak. Like I perform better, I think better. My body does not agree with just simply plants, right? But everyone's different, right? But there is a moral contention though that is underlaying of veganism, which I don't know if you're a Christian or not.
I'm not.
Okay, and I respect
that's fine. The values of the Catholic.
Cool. So yeah, teachings. We as Christians believe human beings are superior to animals, and we are not moral equivalents. We believe that we are given by God the direction to be able to subdue the earth and be fruitful and multiply for our purpose. Yeah. And so, while slaughterhouses are not ideal, obviously, and can be kind of very grotesque, I think that people that, for example, they eat elk or they eat bison, that was able to free roam, I think that I see no moral issue with that, and I also see a lot of health upsides. And then I would just kind of challenge that when human beings were at their healthiest, which is not today, we were not eating a vegan diet, right? It was actually so there's three types of food. There's carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Yeah. And so it's very hard for very hard for vegans to be able to get enough protein. Sure. It's legit. You can agree. So you have to.
I don't think it's that hard, but I mean,
you have to eat a lot of tofu, which is basically soy.
There's a lot of different sources of protein. But
yeah, I mean, there's legumes, right? There's nuts.
But again, go back to like the vegan strongmen. Like they're killing it. There's Patrick Vermeulen's the strongest. He was once held the strongest person in Germany.
I don't contest.
So well, let me.
It's all free. You're free will to eat as you choose.
Let me eliminate this whole. You're basically talking about pragmatics. Like you're maybe not fully convinced that you can be vegan.
No, I think some people can, some people can't. It's personalized. The question is, do you think everyone?
Well, okay. So let's just clear that debate up then. Thank you.
Holy shit, Charlie's so bad faith. What is this? He keeps interrupting him. He's not letting him get any points in. And he's just saying like, oh, you can't get enough protein on a vegan diet. Oh, you have to take tofu in order to get the protein. He's going back to it. Never mind. I changed my mind. I thought Charlie could grow up. Well, never mind. Sorry.
We found a crop out in the Amazon that tasted just like that tasted just like meat. Everything was equivalent. You have the same nutrients, the same compound, the same taste, the same cost. Everything was held equal. In that situation, would you consider veganism, or would you still resort to the dominion over animals?
I don't know is the answer. I mean, it's a hypothetical. Again, I think.
Holy shit! How do you not know the answer to that? One's going to eliminate all the suffering, and you're going to be able to live in a suffering-free diet, and it won't make any changes. And he's just dodging it because he's a fucking sophist. Oh my fucking god, that's crazy. I can't believe people think of Charlie as this great debate lord. What is this? He gets challenged on a hypothetical and he doesn't have the ability to answer it. He doesn't know, and it's the simplest question. And now watch him go back to saying that that's not going to be the reality. That's never going to be a reality. I hope he gets NTT'd, honestly.
There's actually something good about getting animal protein in your system, and I think we underestimate actually all the benefits from muscle mass to neuroscience and development. All that to be said, it's your own free will. Use your agency to do as you see fit. Right. I would caution some people though, and there are a lot of people that try veganism and they get super depressed and they don't feel themselves. You just have to know your body, know your system, and I believe that for final point here.
But when it comes to with extraordinary harm comes an extraordinary justification. Like we're talking about the life and death of these animals here, so you really gotta.
I don't think it's extraordinary harm. I think
it's the death of an animal. You're prematurely killing it. Even if you talk about elk and all that, it's still taking the life away from the animal, and you wouldn't do that in the human context. So what's the symmetry breaker?
No, you wouldn't do it. They aren't human beings. That's the point, right?
Right. So what breaks that symmetry?
Well, the fact they're not human beings.
Okay, so just species alone is what. So if I transplanted the consciousness of a human into an animal body,
more than consciousness. That's where I don't want to get too deep into that. Okay. Human beings are way more than consciousness. We have a soul. You don't agree with that? We do.
I think we have a soul. I would argue that animals have a soul. You don't think your dog has a soul? No.
If you believe your dog has a soul, that's not a soul. Just to be clear.
Can you clarify that? What do you mean by that?
A soul is that which is made in the image of God. Period. Okay. And Genesis says only one being in the animal kingdom is made in the image of God, and that is man and woman. Not the dog, not the leopard, not the cat, not the cheetah, not the elephant.
So then I can get past this by saying if there was another religious doctrine that said it were okay to kill lesser humans, like if you're stronger than other humans, you can kill them for nutrition. Like would you address it?
That's not Christianity.
I know, but you're kind of appealing to authority in a way, right?
Not just I'm appealing to truth, right? I'm also appealing to what built the West. So you're enjoying the moral construct that basically built the greatest.
I'm sure, yeah, and I'm not going to deny that it was an important factor of our upbringing. But I think we've come to a point now where we can actually assess the situation and think clearly about it. Why are we inflicting suffering when it can be avoided, especially on a massive scale?
I would reject the premise. First, I don't think it can be avoided. Number two, I don't think it's necessarily suffering to kill animals. I think we should do it as humanely as possible. I have to ask you a question. It might seem a little inappropriate. Feel free to not answer it. Sure. So, are you pro-life?
Yeah.
Oh my god, Charlie. You didn't get past it. I regret making that romantic song about you and romantic edit of you. You are a loser and a sucker. But anyways, I also wanted to say that I don't think that was the best hypothetical in response. I think he's been doing pretty good. It's just that hypothetical about the religion is just obviously not going to work and kind of turn some people off. You could hear some white blonde woman drinking Starbucks saying, "What the fuck? Are you talking about dogs having a soul? That's not a Christian belief. What the fuck? You're not a rational person. That's all vegans. Vegans for ya. They think dogs have souls." No. I don't like that hypothetical. I wish he got NTT'd. If I see Charlie Kirk, I'm going to catch him NTT lacking.
I mean, you can. This is a separate.
Well, it's not separate. You say the killing of cows is a slaughter. Well, okay, the killing of unborn babies is a slaughter.
Yeah. So I thought you were going to bring that up. I mean, personally, I think abortion is really people treat it as such a easy and simple thing to do. They don't give it the care that it deserves. I don't think we should just have blanket abortions, right?
Okay. Fair enough. I just want you to think about.
So I'm mostly pro-life.
But you can understand why I asked the question, which is some vegans, not you, are slaughterhouses are terrible of cows, but Planned Parenthood is fine.
Contradiction, sure. Yeah.
And I think there's a big contradiction. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the respect. You're free will to be vegan, and I wish you a happy life.
All right.
Thank you.
I'll just ask you to just consider it again.
Thank you.
For you, a sophist, a hypothetical dodging sophist, somebody who tried to derail the conversation, interrupted multiple times, was just as bad faith with the other vegan. And that's why I unlisted the video, and that's why he's not going to upload any video with this vegan. This vegan did I wouldn't say way better, but did better than the last vegan. And I think this was really good. props to him. I'll link his channel. I'll link the video and the original one. He also did a debate overview about what Charlie's handbook of vegan arguments is, and I thought it was really interesting.